Hey everyone, I'm JD. Welcome back to my channel. So I've been asked tons and tons and tons of questions about how I make my faith journals. So I thought the best thing to do might be just to kind of share how exactly I make them, what I use, where I get things from, and do a sort of process video. And I'm not sure how exactly it's going to go, but I'll just chat first about where I get things, how I do it, and then I will go into actually making one up. And I won't do the whole thing from start to finish or anything. It'll just give you an idea of what I do. And we'll just play the video and see how long it runs for. But when it gets to 30, or if it gets to 30 minutes, I will just stop it then. So let's chat first about what I use. So these ones are already finished, and I just had that there to introduce the video. I use A5 visual diaries that are spiral bound, and it can be any brand. I've used all different sorts of brands. It's just whatever I can get from the shops. Usually I just go to the cheap shop, you know, the discount stores, like, I don't know, the reject shops, and in Bowen we don't have anything like that. It's just called Prices Plus. Although they really don't have, it's hit or miss when I can get them. So these ones I actually got from a stationery shop here. Oh, sorry, I just knocked you over. And look, you can see it was $4.40. But you can get cheaper ones. You can also get much more expensive ones, just depending on the quality. And just to show you, this is a different type. And I actually prefer to use the black spiral bound journals, A5 visual diaries. But because I can't get them often, I just go for whatever's going and then adapt. Just to give you a look at what it looks like if you know what an A5 visual diary is, it's just blank pages. It's kind of thicker pages so that you can, it's made for drawing and sketching and that kind of thing. You know, I always use visual diaries, A4 ones, at school. So when I did Year 12 art, I had an A4 visual diary, so that's how I know of visual diaries, and the A5 size is a perfect journal size. So you can also use notebooks, just normal spiral bound notebooks, but I prefer the A5 visual diary because notebook paper tends to be thinner, and I'm just not too sure how strong it will be because this is quite easy to rip out. Like, it's not terribly easy, but it's much easier to rip out than these sturdier pages. Also, the notebooks tend to come with lined pages, and I have made journals with these ones too, and people have liked them just as much and everything, but I personally prefer to work with the A5 visual diary rather than a lined notebook. But if you want, you can definitely use this. Okay, so that's notebooks. Just to show you what I do with the cover. So this one is exactly the same. It was just a green one, and then the only difference between this one and this one is that I've done the cover. And all I do is the same front and back on the cover, and I use either scrapbook paper or pretty paper, whatever papers I can get, but obviously it has to be of a size that can fit this A5 size, and one A4 sheet will get you enough to have a front and back cover, which is good. Also scrapbooking paper, obviously the big square gets you enough for a front and back cover, but you don't need the same picture if you don't want, obviously. Let's just, before I go into the process, share about what I use for the actual pages themselves. So everyone asks me about where do I get those pages with the lines and the pictures. These are the books, and I thought I'd just show you. It's just much easier. Joy Like a Fountain, Love Like an Ocean, My Life in Colour, but there are so many different types. Since these are faith journals, these are faith colouring journals, and when I get them from Koorong, which is a Christian bookshop, and because I live in Bowen, I can't get there physically, so I buy them all online. And there's so many, so when I go online and I search for these, there are tons and tons and tons of different types of these. The reason why I got these is because I was actually given both of these for Christmas one year, and I was using this one myself, and then when I discovered junk journaling, I ripped it apart to use the pages in junk journals. And this one I didn't even use. I just used every single page for junk journals. And when I used them all up, I went to the shop myself and bought more to make more journals, because these faith journals are just the biggest sellers of all my journals. So this is the third lot of these that I've bought. This is the first time I've tried this one, just to break up the images and try something new. Let me show you what they look like on the inside. So every page has a quote, a scripture, and some images as well. So I'll just flick through. So this one's obviously themed ocean, whereas this one, I prefer this one. It was good to give that a go, but I probably wouldn't get that one again. I'll definitely get this one again. This is the third time I've got this. So isn't that pretty? Birds, butterflies, flowers, that kind of thing. So very, very pretty. And then this one is slightly different because it has prompts and things, although I've used quite a lot of pages, so I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see. But full-size quotes. Yeah, prompts like my vision, and you can write your vision there. Areas I can simplify. And then, yeah, longer passages that prompt you. Full-size colouring pages, my bucket list, the most important thing on my life's to-do list. So yeah, that's that one. So that's where I get those lovely pages from. And they're quite cheap, these books. Like, I don't spend heaps on them. And I know I feel kind of bad that I buy these continuously, but because you can make lots of journals with them, and because my faith journals are my best sellers, I think it's worth it in that way. Then of course I intersperse all of those notebook pages with Bible pages, and sorry, just trying to get them. Bible pages, Christian music paper, all different types of Bibles too. So let me just show you an example. I've got I've got about 20 Bibles that I use in one faith journal. And this is a journaling Bible, space to journal, children's book Bibles, so with images and things. This is a magazine style Bible, which comes from Hillsong, and I just order it online as well. The other Bibles I get from op shops. Oh, these two actually are special ones, because I used to have these, or I do have these, growing up, and so I bought an extra copy just cheaply on eBay to use in journals, and because it's sentimental for me, that's why I wanted these ones. This is a study Bible, and then yeah, this is the one I grew up with as a kid, so I just went online to buy this so I could use these pages too. Alright, so that's an example of, oh gosh, of the other pages that I use. And also hymn books. So I've already got the pages out of these ones. I prepare them, like rip out the pages so that they're on hand, and I don't have to pull out 20 books while I'm making a journal. I can just pull out my stack of pages. Devotional pages. So like that. There's heaps and heaps and heaps. And that's the devotional books, again, just from op shops, so 50 cents it was. More, the word for today, all from the op shop. Scripture and song, that's the hymn books from the op shop as well. And then these are the pages that I've ripped out of the Bibles already, so that I can, yeah, take that stack and then just rifle through them, pick out the ones that I want for each page, stick them in. All different types, so that's the variety. And this is the Christian music book that I work with, again from an op shop, and look how old and lovely it is. Alright, so that is the pages, and I hope that was helpful. I get them from op shops. I get those journaling books from Koorong, Bibles, yeah, from op shops, different things. And now let me go with the process and we'll just see how this goes. I'll be doing this exactly as I make my junk journals, as I make my faith journals, and I guess just watch and have fun. For the front cover, I use double-sided tape because this plastic, I learnt, does not stick well with, what's it called? Glue. I'm not very good at chatting while I craft, so just bear with me. Yeah, I glued it the first time and like a day later I was like, oh, it's just peeled right off. So I used double-sided tape for the front cover on the plastic part. The back is made out of like chipboard, so I just used glue for that one. You could definitely use double-sided tape for that as well if you wanted, but I think glue is easier than this process of cutting and all of that. Sorry if I'm not in frame. My desk is, well, it's not a desk, it's a table, and it's very small and it's just round, so things fall off it all the time. I usually just craft on my bed because I can just spread all my supplies out all over the bed. Also with this one, I find the pages can also, or the papers, can buckle, especially in Queensland. It's hot up here and I find sometimes that after a while in the heat the pages buckle, so I've had to redo some journals or discount some journals when they've done that, and this time I've learnt to put more tape so that it doesn't buckle. So now I'm just going in and taking all the backing off, and my goodness, I'm gonna get a sore back crafting away on this table trying to film watching the through my camera, but all good. And the scrapbook paper that I'm using for this I chose because it's purple and this is a purple cover, so that's why I did that. It came from the lovely Tamika, again from one of her paper packs that she sent in Happy Mail / Beyond Blue donation. So I find it really tricky actually to line this up. I don't know how other people do it. I see them do it on YouTube and I'm just like, wow, how can you get that lined up so perfectly? When I first started, I would be like lifting it up and then ripping it, and it was terrible. So I just line it up on one edge because I find two edges is, I can never really do two edges. And then all I do is cut it. So and I'm just going to be doing like a rough and ready job while I'm filming. I can always trim things up and neaten things up later on, but for the sake of this video, let's just show you what I do. Okay, so another trick for this is there's always one side that's easier to obviously trim than the other because you can get it flush with your scissors. So I just have to try and open it up this way so I can get it flush, because you can get this side flush but not this one because you have to cut from this angle. So I try to just fold it round and do my best to get it flush, or I tip it this way and then angle my scissors so that can get right on the edge. So that is the cover. then I will do the back just with glue. So I use craft glue because I find it's strong. That's my number one priority. I want it to stick and it holds fast. So let me just stick the glue on. There's probably like a whole bunch of other glues that are better for this, but I haven't really experimented with glues too much. I just get what I can get here in Bowen. And again, just so it doesn't buckle, I kind of cover up lots of the page. I'm just going to get a tissue because my glue will squirt out of the bottle everywhere, which is not fun at all. And then I will grab my scrapbook paper and stick it down. And I find because it can move a little bit, I can get the edges. And the trick is to make it so I'm not going to explain this very well, but instead of moving it down this way so that you'd have to cut this side and that side, I'm moving it so it's over this edge so that I only have to cut this side, this side and this side, so that way I've got the flush sides. So just a tip there. If I was going on this side, it flips, so the overhang would have to be down here. So then it's flush here and here. So that's just a handy trick. But I don't do that all the time. Sometimes the page doesn't, like where I want it to sit on the page, the overhang is in the other spot. And that's okay, you just cut it as best you can, as close to the thing as you can. I mean, you can still get it close, it's just trickier. So this is just a way that's quicker and more helpful and easier. Alright, so there are my covers, and then really simple. Then to go and do your pages, like you could go just work straight from front to back and do that. Or you can scatter pages throughout and work on different pages at different times. So I might just do that, just for the sake of showing you a range of different ways to do this. So some of them I overhang them and cut them down, others I will cut them down to size first, so like this. And then I'll glue them on, but I'll show you what I mean. How there's two different methods. So I've trimmed this down so that that will now fit on the page. And to glue it down then, all I will do is turn this over and glue this down. Can't pick it up. Alright, there we go. And then I will just stick it in the middle of the page. Alright, the other method I'll show you with a larger page. Just got to find one. Alright, so I've just chosen this one, and let's stick it here. First thing I'll do is, oh, that's not a good example because it's almost the size of the page, sorry about that. Let me grab this one. Okay, so see, this one is bigger than the page, and what I will do is, because that's where the image is, I could put it up the top, but I'm going to put it down here. So, just so I don't cut off that image. So the image is the priority to keep that on the page. And for this one, when the page is bigger than the page in the notebook, I put the glue on the page instead of onto, I mean page. I put the glue into the notebook instead of the page. And then I will stick this to the page and trim it afterwards. So you do have to be careful of glue squeezing out and then sticking the pages together. So I just run a tissue over the side and then make sure it's stuck down. Turn it over, and that's what I mean about how it's flush on both edges, which was convenient. So now I can just go down the side of the page and trim it to size. Alright, so that's another page done. And that's pretty much just how I do the whole thing. Grab my pages and glue them in. So, I'll grab some of the notebook pages from the colouring in journal, and let me grab the shells. So, I'm going to put it right here. And usually so what I'm going to do is, I could just leave it like that, and I'm just going to trim it here though instead. Oh no, for this one, sorry. What I do for this one is trim it down to size because it's a smaller page. It's for the other journal, colouring journal, where I do it differently. So I still need to trim that more. Again, I just eyeball it. Probably need to do that a tiny bit more. And then I will stick that one in here. And I'll just grab a page from here just to show you as well. So let's choose my vision. And sometimes it is hard to choose which side of the page I want to use. Sorry, I was doing that off camera, but I'm just gluing this page. So sorry, the view you're getting isn't the most helpful, but just doing it that way. And then I will stick that on this page here. And wipe up any of the excess glue. So now I will I'm going to put it over here, and I'm just going to rule it down the edge here so that the writing will definitely be on the page. Just the proportion of the image will be there. And because this one is larger than the page, I will glue directly into the notebook. And I'm just lining it up to see where I want it. I want it about there, so there's overhang on all three edges because that's where I want this image on the page. And then I will just trim up those three edges once it's stuck down. Okay, so that one's in there now. And just smoothing it out so it's not buckling and it's all stuck down. I mean, you can always go in afterwards when you're flipping through the book. Oh, there goes my ruler. And what am I saying? Oh, glue down any edges that you may have missed the first time round. So these ones are all flush with the edge, so these ones will be easy to cut. This one not so much, but I will do my best to grab it. So sometimes if you can fold it like this, it gets the other half of the book out the way, so you can do it flush. But it's just a bit trickier. A bit awkward. And yeah, I've missed a bit, so I'm just going to trim that there. Alright, so that is that one. Alright, well I think that's enough to give you an idea of how I do it. I just keep filling the pages back and front. Sometimes I do leave the backs. I leave about 5 blank because then I can embellish it with a flip or a flap or something. The other thing I need to just mention is, of course, when you're putting in so many pages onto each page, sticking them on, it will bulk up. So I rip out all the excess pages. I've worked it out the nice size that I like personally, 30 pages, which gives you 60 front and back. And then I rip out the rest, and I use those for tea dyeing and using in other journals. With those 30 that I have, they're all either double-sided with usually a note paper on one side and a Bible page or something else on the other. So every spread has one page with journaling space. Sometimes I do 2 with journaling space because that is my priority, is journaling space. And the way I also add more space for writing is those flips and flaps and tags, yeah, pockets. I'll create pockets on some of the pages too, so I'll leave some blank, and you've seen me how I make those pockets. So I will get double-sided tape, put it down here, here and here, and make a pocket, and then put journaling cards in there or tags. Other ones I will just cut this down to size, washi tape it in, and make a flap, so there's more journaling space that way. But I mean, lots of journals already have only 30 pages, especially the paper bag journals or glassine bag journals. They're usually smaller, and even the single signature soft cover journals tend to only have a limited number of pages. So I think 30 and 60 front and back is quite normal for a journal anyway, but I do like to just add as much journaling space as I can with those cards and flaps and pockets and tags and things. And yeah, so that is how I make it, and I hope that was helpful. If you have any more questions or anything about where I get things or how I do things, just let me know and I can definitely do my best to answer that. So thank you so much, guys. I'll see you later. Bye.